ごきげんよう。青の少女のナイトさん。俺につく気はないかい？君のようなできる後輩は俺としても大歓迎さ。
断る。私のこの剣は仲間を守るために振るうものだ。
Believe in victory. Battle 1. Engage!
I really do appreciate Katalina. I've said before to tons of my friends that I would start actually playing traditional fighters, but I've never really had the chance. Whether it was because of YouTube, whether it's because of I have to do a lot of stuff now, there's always been an excuse. But not anymore. I play Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and above all else, the characters that I really do enjoy the most is Katalina. I feel like the character gave me the tools and gave me the understanding in order to actually play the game well. So rather than bore you with a long ass intro, let's just get right into it. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, at least for right now, is really known for 6XL and a lot of players skipping neutral.
If you don't know how to play Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising, if you don't know how to play fighting games, if you are struggling, all you have to do is do 6XL. Bot, 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 bot.
These are tools and things that the characters have that definitely makes neutral very mashy for the most part. And since 6XL is universal, any person can do it. So for the most part, you'll have every single other person in the cast be very, unga. And Katalina, being one of the few characters that doesn't want to do this, feels exceptionally well to play. Katalina's buttons, whether you're close or far away, are very long. Meaning that she can normally hurt you where you can't really hurt her. Because of this, players have to play even more safe. At least compared to a lot of other characters. Usually when you punish someone, what will happen is that they throw a move that's really bad too much into you, and then you can punish accordingly. But because of the range of the sword being so long, you can't really do the same thing. So what you have to do is that you have to dance with the Katalina player. You have to really determine your fireballs, you have to really determine if they pressed a button or not. You actually have to think about a lot more things in order to counter them. Now, she's also not invincible. Her hurt box is also extended if she presses buttons, so you standing there and waiting for one button to clash and then hitting her is a good strategy. And this sort of pace of the game is really what I like about Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. Yes, 6XL is a good move, but just predicting where people are going to go or how they're going to react to you and then punishing accordingly is just, it's so fun to me. I can be more patient and more analytical. And from this, I can become a better player. I don't really feel like I'm a better player if I go for a 6XL. I feel like I'm a better player because, you know, I outpaced my opponent, I outwitted them. And with Katalina's tools, especially her long normals and her fireballs, it really feels like I can do that. In a game where people are just smacking each other on wake up with buttons, it feels really nice to be the patient person playing the game. I also like that my defense has improved because of what she is. See, some characters I can do a lot of stuff on wake up. I don't really have to care if people are like pressing me with advantage because I just have good tools to get out of this situation. Katalina doesn't really have that, or at least not usually. Sure, there's stuff like the Shoryuken, maybe there's like a crouching medium that you could probably use in order to get out of a situation. But for the most part, that's not really up for the table. You kind of have to block. But what I like about it is that Katalina is already neutral based, so I'm already having to deal with people sometimes getting the advantage on me anyway. So learning how to block essentially is fine to me because it allows me to be patient and to actually see where I can improve on things. If I had just like a get out of jail free card for every single other character, then I'm just gonna use it and potentially just complain if it ever backfires on me. But with being neutral heavy, it makes it so that my defense has to improve. I have to know when to block, and not only that, I have to know when potentially they can mix it up. Because sometimes people hit me with moves that go to my body and then they'll cancel it into something that can hit my legs, and I have to be ready for that. Sometimes people are putting me into block strings, and sometimes I have to take the throw. And I know that could be a very bad feeling thing at the time, but to me, it really feels like I'm slowly becoming more and more in tune with the character so that I can deal with these things in the future. Sure, I take the throw now, but it doesn't really matter because now I know it exists and I can block appropriately and be more prepared this time. Maybe this could have been done with other characters naturally, but I feel like with her being very neutral based, it makes it so that doing those sorts of things and being more defensive is something you want to do rather than something that just seems annoying. Okay, so if anyone hasn't noticed, I'm a platform fighter player, and I don't think it's been about like maybe a year since I've actually tried traditional fighting games. And you know, you kind of have the wall as a platform fighter player when you're starting in traditional fighters, you know? You need to learn how defense works, you need to know how combos work, you need to know like simple inputs. And because of the internet, you already know that there's a lot of traditional fighting players that tease, and if they don't tease, they actually just don't think that you have any sort of skill if you're a platform fighter player, and you can never make it in any other fighting game. Slowly, this might have been going away, but you know, it's still there. And because of these things, I never really wanted to try them. Because every single loss, every single not knowing what to do, and every single thing is just going to be even worse because I'm a platform fighter player. It's gonna be, of course you don't know what to do because you play a baby game. 1, a lot of you like Injustice, so you can just lick cock. 2, this thing is a process. A lot of fighting game players, even when they're like renowned YouTube stars, like when it comes to fighting games, they had to start somewhere. And when they started, the first 3 years were probably not pleasant. But it's really about trying to get better and trying to understand what you're going through, rather than just listening to what negative people have to say about you. And I think Katalina does that really perfectly. See, of course there's characters that were made for the beginners like Gran. You know, they're fast, they have simple enough combo tools. But because of where I was as a fighting game player, I really enjoyed how Katalina made me learn the game. Because combos were very simple, or even just like 2 things that you can do, it really made it so that I could focus on one thing, improve upon it, and then go to the next thing. Like, I think my biggest issue when it comes to like fighting game movement inputs was definitely the Shoryuken input. It's like half a T, you have to go forward, down, forward again, and then press a button. And that's very uncomfortable coming from a platform fighter background. But because of the game and Katalina being how it is, you don't really have to focus on that. Yes, there is a shortcut that you can use in order to do the Shoryuken, but it won't be fully invincible, and not only that, but it doesn't do as much damage. So basically, since that was the thing that was really irking me, rather than try to focus on it too much, I'd rather focus on my neutral play. Once I focus on my neutral play, once I know what buttons were safe, once I know what to do as soon as I hit someone, I can now develop myself in order to finding out how this button works. And honestly, it was a good solution. I can quarter circle forward in order to do Hadoukens, I can quarter circle back in order to do the lunge press. So I mastered both of them just so I can master the other Shoryuken when the time came. And then a few weeks down the line, I actually figured out how the thing worked, and now I can do it rather repeatedly. And the next step that I want to do is that I want to try to do quarter circle twice so I can do super now, because I'm gonna be honest, that kind of forward motion twice kind of fucks me up, and sometimes I eat an input that I don't really want to do. But you know, it's progress. Katalina isn't really combo centric, at least until you hit the corner, then she has combos, but she's not really combo centric, so the things that you really have to work on is going to be things that you're going to need in order to keep on fighting the opponent. Flashy combos and upsets are really cool, but they're not going to be the thing that helps you get in. They're added things that you do in order to really hone in on them. But to understand neutral, to understand how to bait things, to understand how to like tango with the opponent, that's going to be the thing that really gets you opportunities in order to hit people. And I truly don't think that I would be able to have as much success as I do with fighting games if Katalina was not really designed in a way where I can slowly get better. And because she's very easy to learn, it makes it so that you can get better over time and not have to feel too depreciated about it. Sure, I could go into a tournament right now, maybe even a big tournament, and lose, but that's not the point. The reason why that I played fighting games, or I wanted to play it, is to be with my friends and to experience some sort of things. And I couldn't do that beforehand. I could only really do auto combos at some point. I pressed the button every single time that I woke up in certain fighting games, and I just didn't know what I was doing wrong. Pair this with the idea that fighting game players just treat you like dirt just because you play a certain fighting game, and they don't even believe that you can ever be even given the chance to play at any sort of level. But with Katalina, I was given confidence. Some of you could say, well, you're just battling your friends and winning against them. It's not like you're going to a high tier tournament. But that's not the point. The point is that I was so bad beforehand that I couldn't even get anything on them. But now, because of my development and how that I'm going, I can actually get a lot of games, and it's mostly close. And sure, I won't be able to go to, like, I don't know, a major and do this sort of thing, but that's not the point. There's improvement. I can now do something that I wasn't able to do beforehand, and that's actually have fun with my friends, rather than just feeling like I can't do anything. Maybe it's a little too emotional. Maybe I shouldn't be thinking about things like that. But what I do know is this. Katalina is my first step into actually performing in traditional fighting games. And because of this newfound confidence, because I actually know what I'm doing now, whether it comes to combos, whether it comes to certain like quarter circle forwards or any sort of inputs of that matter, because of that start, I can now get even better than I thought I could. And I have the confidence that I can play other games, and even if I'm not going to perform at the tip-top level, I can perform. And that sort of thing just makes me appreciate Katalina even more. I get it. To the outside viewer, Katalina just might look like a very generic swordswoman. But if you ask me on what I thought about her, I think she's great. And I wouldn't have it any other way. This got a little more emotional than I really wanted it to be, but you know, it happens. I'm glad with how the video turned out and just talking about Katalina, because you know, with every single other person in the game, it's nice the fact that someone actually talks about her, because I don't really see it across the internet. But on another note, how about you do something for me? You know how Katalina to me was the first fighting game character to really expand my growth on fighting games? Who was that character to you? I'd love to know. Well, I guess other than that, I guess that's it. I'll talk to you guys later.